The roots of the Payload game mode in Team Fortress 2, or the game mode that it would become today, are littered with flaws, problems, scrapped ideas that it's really amazing that we're here where we are today. One of the most played and one of the most beloved game modes in TF2 that's made its way into other games as a staple. If we go back to 1999, we can see hints of Payload in Team Fortress Classic. The Assassination Escort game mode has hints of what Payload would turn out to be. You have your VIP that one team needs to escort to certain points on the map, while the opposing team must stop them. We can see the inspiration that Payload took from this idea. Fast forward to 2008 and Valve adds the first Payload map into the game, and although the map is very 2008, the game mode itself has improved on everything that Escort mode had laid out. Except for one class. Scout in Payload is an odd case, because at the end of the day, he's still Scout, he still runs fast, he still shoot good, but ask around and people will definitely think that Scout is at a disadvantage in Payload, being a cart bitch, to quote Uncle Dane. Load into nearly any Payload server and you will notice a large difference in the number of Scouts that you would normally see in any other game mode. Just for proof, I loaded into 3 Payload games and 3 games of every other game mode. I know 3 isn't a massive number, but I'm not running major scientific experiments here, and I don't really expect to see any major outliers. Out of the first 3 Payload games I loaded into, there was 1 Scout between the 3 games. And of the other 3 games, I had 5 Scouts between them. So it's pretty clear the game mode is not favoured by Scout players. But why is that? It's all down to the environment. Let me teach you about why Payload, as a game mode, can't support Scout's playstyle. First, let's look at the main objective of the mode. Would you be surprised that it is to push the Payload cart? Now, the Payload cart is different to other objectives in TF2, where control points have stationary points in specific parts of the map. CTF has an objective that can be taken nearly anywhere, dropped and passed to players. The cart is stuck on a track, which means for Scout to complete the objective, he must take that path and only that path. Now, that doesn't seem bad, and it's not far off how other maps work. Like, the enemy team on a control point map know that you're going to try attack the point, but on Payload they know exactly how you are going to attack the point. This actually turns a large chunk of the majority of maps into a choke point, and if you played Scout for like 5 minutes, you know Scout is shit in choke points. Probably one of the worst classes for a choke point, except maybe Spy. But even then, Spy can cloak behind the front lines and get a few kills. Well, hold on, I hear. Why don't you flank behind them? I mean, you constantly bring it up in your videos as to why you love Scouts, so it seems only logical. Why the fuck did I write that? And it's a good point, but if we take a look at the most popular Payload maps, you'll see that the flank routes don't end far from where the main points actually are, and that's where the enemy team is going to be bunched up. I don't actually hate this decision, it works well for the game mode. I'm not a map designer. Well, actually, I'm not a designer of anything. I mean, look at my thumbnails. Jesus Christ! But I'm pretty sure if you were able to attack the defenders from multiple spread out angles in a game mode like Payload, it would be way too fucking difficult for the defenders. So it's a good decision. For everybody except Scout. It leads him straight to where the majority of the enemy team will be, and since Scout doesn't have any good means of crowd control, what you are left doing is sitting at or behind the front lines, picking off enemies who have overextended. But ding ding ding, you guessed it, this is also not a good idea. Yes, in other game modes, sometimes Scout has to wait at the front line or behind it to stop flankers because people will be trying to push your team back. But in Payload, the defenders have no reason to push up or overextend because they can't push the cart back manually. They have to wait for it to roll back. So defenders would rather hold their position than overextend, putting themselves closer to your spawn and further from the rest of their team. I won't say that you'll have nobody attacking you, but you won't be very busy behind the front lines. You'll have to find other ways to occupy yourself. Alright lads, I'm your emotional support. I'll take any song request.
How about some Oasis?
How about you kill yourself? I also want to bring this up as a side note, as engineers aren't definite in a Payload game, but because the maps are so close quarters just because of how the game mode is designed, you will fucking despise engineers so much that you'll want to contravene the Good Friday Agreement. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Well, no, contravening the Good Friday Agreement is a bad thing. What I mean is if the map was too open, you'd be able to attack from just much wider angles, which would be unfair to the defenders. So it's a good decision. It just happens to make Engineer a really strong class on Payload, which means Scout will have a very bad time. Did you know? Despite what you actually may think, I actually work very hard on these videos and I'm hoping to hit 8k by the end of the year. So if you like this or any of my other videos for that matter, please like, subscribe, comment, all that shite. I joke about stuff like this, but it actually does mean a lot. Okay, back to the video. I will say defender side is a lot better for Scout. You got a lot more area to play with and you're not normally locked down by sentries, as engineers aren't as common on attacker side, and if they do have one, they're normally just running mini sentries, which, another side note, I have no idea why some scouts hate mini sentries so much. They're so fucking easy to take down. I would rather fight a mini than a level 3. However, it's still a more close quarters map, which isn't the area Scout excels in. And on certain maps, yes, it's much easier to flank and it will put you in a better position than if you were flanking as an attacker. But as I said earlier, the risk is higher than the reward with flanking. You can get drops on important players, but that doesn't really mean you're actually contributing towards the objective, as again, you can't back cap. That's really about it. It's definitely not a horrible choice on defense, but odds are your team's gonna fucking vote kick you if you don't join the fucking Texas hive mind. So now we know Payload is bad for Scout. How do we fix it? We don't have to. Scout is one of the 3 strongest classes in the game. Because of this, the idea that the class itself should be able to manage in any situation it gets into is engraved in people's minds, which is stupid. Scout is a glass cannon offensive class. The idea that he should have no weaknesses or should be able to push a whole team to victory is fucking stupid. He can still be great on Payload if the player is effective enough, and I love playing Scout on Payload because it gives me a challenge. But I don't mind the class getting a bit dicked over in this one game mode if it encourages more diverse team compositions than just America! I'm all for it.